Charles didn't just marry Camilla. He built the entire life she has around one thing, his crown. And he already knows what happens to it when he's gone. 20 signs, not guesses, settled. Read the protocol, the duchy that skips her, the title that lapses, the residence held at William's word, the precedence that drops the same hour. Camilla cannot change one line of it. Every privilege she wears exists because Charles wears the crown. He knows the day he sets it down, the arithmetic runs against her. He set it up that way anyway. This is the king who fought 30 years to make her queen, and who quietly left the one door she needs locked from the other side. 20 signs, 20 settlements, 20 things. Camilla keeps nothing of, while Diana was denied even her crown. All of it, already decided. You'll see all 20, from quiet protocol to final word. Sign 20 is the one she can't undo. Charles knew. Charles signed nothing. Charles didn't have to. Let's count them down. Number 1, the 1993 memorandum. To William, tax-free. To her, taxed. Sign 1. A government document dated the 5th of February, 1993 agreed with John Major's government. The rule inside it: assets passing from one sovereign to the next pay no inheritance tax. Assets left to anyone else, a widow included, fall back into the taxed world. That's the whole trick of the settlement, and it sits on the government's own website tonight. Search Memorandum of Understanding on Royal Taxation. Read it yourself. Now do what Charles has done his entire adult life. Run the numbers. Leave the fortune to William, and it survives whole. Leave it to Camilla, and the taxman takes his share on the way. The rule was written when Diana was still Princess of Wales, 12 years before Camilla married in. The arithmetic has been against her since before she arrived. Settled. That's one. You watched sign 2 happen and probably never clocked it. Number 2, September 2022. The rule ran once already, in front of everyone. When Elizabeth died, her private estate, Balmoral and Sandringham included, passed to Charles alone, tax-free under that exact rule. By every public account, nothing went to Anne, to Andrew, to Edward. The machine consolidates everything on the next sovereign and skips even the monarch's own blood children to keep the crown's wealth whole. Hold that thought where it stings. If the system passes over a princess royal with 50 years of service, where exactly does a second wife stand? Charles didn't read about this rule. He wrote it. He is the last man alive to have traveled the tax-free track, and he knows it only carries kings. Settled. Next, the duchy that skips her. The intro's first line. Number 3, the Duchy of Lancaster. £1 billion that can't even see her. The Duchy of Lancaster, the monarch's estate, worth over £1 billion, is held by the sovereign in right of the crown. It cannot be willed to a widow. It cannot be split, gifted, or redirected. When the reign ends, its income moves to William, because the estate belongs to the office, and the office moves. There's no decision here for Charles to make, and that is exactly the point. The biggest asset in his life was never his to leave her, and he has always known it. 3. And if you think sign 3 is about some distant future, look at its twin. Number 4, the Duchy of Cornwall already went. Same day, she watched. The Duchy of Cornwall, Charles's own estate for 70 years, the one that paid for his whole princely life, passed to William the day Charles became king. September 2022. Automatic. No probate, no ceremony, no window to object. 70 years of holdings moved to Diana's son in an afternoon, while Camilla stood beside her husband at the proclamation. The inheritance has already run once inside this marriage, at full speed, past everyone, and she wasn't in it. The next transfer runs at the same speed. 4. The public money is quicker still. Number 5, the sovereign grant. There is no widow's line in it. The sovereign grant, the act is from 2011, funds the reigning monarch's official life, the staff, the travel, the engagements Camilla carries out today. all paid through an office that ends with the rain. There is no widow's line in the formula. Whatever a widowed Camilla receives would come from the new king's resources at the new king's discretion. 5 stamps down. The money is done, routed all of it years ago. Now come the front doors, and sign 6 is the one that collapses the future tense. Number 6, Highgrove. William is already his father's landlord. Highgrove, the home Charles spent 4 decades building, the gardens he loves more than any palace, was bought by the Duchy of Cornwall in 1980. You've just heard where the Duchy went. So since 2022, the king has paid rent to his own son, £503,711 for the year to March 2026. That figure isn't gossip. It's in the Duchy's official accounts. Camilla's weekends at Highgrove happen in a house her stepson owns. Not will own, owns. The day the crown moves, her presence there is a tenancy question, and the landlord is Diana's son. 6. And the check clears every year. Here's where it turns cruel because the next 2 he could leave to anyone. Number 7. Sandringham and Balmoral. His one free choice, priced against her. Sandringham and Balmoral are the monarch's private property. No law forces them to William. But remember, sign 1. The tax exemption only shields what passes to the next sovereign. Leave the estates to Camilla, and the protection dies with him. The taxman walks into Balmoral behind the coffin. Leave them to William, and they survive whole. So the single category where Charles holds a genuinely free hand is the category where the arithmetic punishes him for choosing his wife. 30 years to challenge that arrangement. He left it where it stands. 7. Number 8, Clarence House. The residence held at William's word. Her own front door. The residence held at William's word just as promised at the top. Clarence House is a crown residence. Camilla lives there because her husband is king, and for no other reason. When the reign ends, where she lives becomes the new monarch's call. Royal reporting expects her to leave London for her own house in the country. One comparison tells you what her tenure is worth. The Queen Mother kept Clarence House for nearly 50 years. As mother of the reigning monarch, Camilla holds it as the king's wife. One of those standings survives a reign. The other ends with it. 8. Now run every roof over her head through a single question. Who holds the freehold? Number 9. The door audit. One key in England. Answers to her name. Buckingham Palace, Windsor, Clarence House. The crowns, which means the next kings. Highgrove. The duchies, which means William's already. And Ray Mill, her house in Wiltshire, hers. One question, 3 owners. And 2 of them are the same man. 21 years a royal wife, nearly 4 as queen, and exactly 1 door in England answers to her name. The one she bought before any of it began. Keep that door in sight. It comes back at sign 18, and it's the most honest thing in this video. Number 10. The offices that switch themselves off. Camilla can deputize for the king today. A counselor of state as the sovereign's spouse. A widow is not a spouse. The role doesn't get removed. It simply stops attaching to her. Her royal warrants, her name on the crests of the tradesmen she favors, lapse with the reign that granted them. Watch what's missing from both sentences. An actor. Nobody fires her. Nobody votes. No decree is drafted. No announcement made. The offices are plugged into the crown, and the crown moves. 10, half the ledger, and here's what the first half proves. Charles knew. Charles signed nothing. Charles didn't have to. 10 stamps, and look at the shape of them. The money routed since 1993, the homes already deeded elsewhere, the offices that die on their own. Everything so far had a price on it. The next 5 lines decide something worse. Her name, her rank, and her family's place when the music stops. And the first one needs no decision from anybody. Number 11, the Queen, ends on its own. Nobody even takes it. The title that lapses, another promise from the top of this video. The moment the reign changes, Camilla stops being the queen. The legal explainers put it in one cold phrase. Her change of status is a consequence of the accession, not a distinct event. No ceremony strips her. No decree is read. There is nothing to contest because nothing was done. The fact that made her queen simply stops being true, and in the same breath, it becomes true of Catherine. 30 years of campaigning, 17 of rehabilitation, 1 coronation, and the expiry date was built into the word before she ever wore it. 11. So what would she be called? Number 12, Queen Dowager. A style last worn in 1837. There's a word for a king's widow, Queen Dowager. Now find the last woman who actually carried it, Queen Adelaide, widow of William IV. The year was 1837. The style Camilla falls to has sat in a drawer for 189 years. Elizabeth Bowes Lyon was offered the same shelf in 1952 and refused it. She chose a warmer title instead, and the country loved her by it for half a century. Which raises the obvious question, why can't Camilla simply do what she did? 12. Sign 13 is the answer, and it comes down to one word. Number 13, Queen Mother is impossible. The word is mother. The reason is Diana. The warm title, Queen Mother, is not an honor you request. It describes a fact, a queen who is mother of the reigning monarch. Elizabeth Bowes Lyon could carry it for 50 years because her daughter sat the throne. It gave her Clarence House, the nation's affection, a protected old age. Now apply the definition to Camilla. She is William's stepmother. The one title that makes a royal widowhood safe is closed to her. Not by malice, not by a vote, but by the plain meaning of a word. William's mother was Diana. Say it slowly because the ledger has no colder line. The woman who was denied even her crown is the reason Camilla can never hold the only title that would have protected her. 13. The coldest stamp on the ledger. Next, the precedence that drops. Number 14, precedence. The room rebuilds itself the same hour. The order of the court rebuilds itself around the new sovereign the hour the reign changes. The widow of a former king ranks below the reigning queen, Catherine, and below the blood royals of the new court. 2 decades of walking first, of every room arranging itself around her, reversed by the same silent machinery as everything else. The room simply reads the new reign and resorts itself, the way it has for 1,000 years. Where you stand in that family is what you are. 14. Most of this ledger is defaults Charles inherited. Number 15. The pen he never used. Her children hold nothing. Sign 15 is a choice. And unlike sign 7, this one carries no tax and no penalty. It was free in every direction, every morning. Every honor in Britain flows from the sovereign. The old phrase is the fount of honor. Charles has held the fount through 2 decades of marriage and nearly 4 years of reign. His wife's children, Tom and Laura. No title, no style, no place in the order of things, not even a courtesy. A king who wanted Camilla's line stitched into the family has had the pen in his hand every day of his reign, and every day he has set it down again. That's where decided stops being a figure of speech. 15. That was the name, and that was the family. 5 lines left on the ledger, and there the settlement itself. A will the world is never allowed to read, a crown going back in its box, and a final word that already has an owner. Sign 20 is the one she can't undo. Number 16, the sealed will. Whatever he promised, she can never show it. The locked door from the start of this video. Here it is. Since 1911, the wills of senior royals have been sealed by the court, more than 30 of them, beginning with Prince Francis of Teck. Prince Philip's was sealed in 2021 for 90 years by ruling of the High Court. Nobody outside that vault knows what any of them say, and this video claims nothing about the contents because the seal itself is the story. Whatever Charles promises Camilla privately, she can never produce it. Now set one fact beside that vault. Diana's will was public, probated, printed, picked over within months of her death. The man who wronged her gets 90 years of silence. The woman he crowned inherits a promise she can never show a living soul. 16. 90 years of silence. Stamped. The jewels are the opposite of sealed. Everyone watches where those go. Number 17. Queen Mary's crown goes back in the box. The most famous object Camilla ever touched, the crown placed on her head in May 2023, is Queen Mary's crown, held in right of the crown, like every state jewel around it. She wore it for one morning. It went back to the vault by nightfall, and the vault serves whoever is queen. The day the reign changes, its keeper is Catherine. Borrowed, worn, catalogued, returned. 17. Now the honest line stated before anyone demands it. Number 18. What she actually keeps. Say it plainly. Camilla keeps Ray Mill House, bought in the mid-90s with her own money after her divorce, before Charles. She keeps her private wealth, her personal things, and a courtesy style as a king's widow. Nobody is putting her on the street, and this channel won't pretend otherwise. But read the title of this video again, because the scope is exact. She keeps nothing of the crown, not its money, not its homes, not its jewels, not its offices, not its rank. What survives the reign is precisely what existed before the reign touched her. Everything the crown added, the crown reclaims, down to the last borrowed stone. 18. The honest one and the deadliest. Now trace how she got the word queen at all. Number 19. A wish, a choice, and a discretion. None of them hers. Elizabeth expressed a sincere wish. The 5th of February 2022, the eve of her accession day, Charles chose to honor it. That's the entire foundation, a wish and a choice. A wish binds nobody, and neither does a king who's gone. So every question left standing, what she's called after the funeral, what role she keeps, which house she uses, lands on a single desk, and no law on earth directs the answer. 3 links in the chain, a wish, a choice, a discretion. The last link belongs to Diana's son, number 20, the heir himself, settled the day William was born. The last line of the ledger holds all the others, not a rule, not a tax, not a title, but the appointment itself. Every sign you've counted, the tax route, the estates, the lapsing title, the sealed vault, the final discretion, lands on the same desk in the same hour whenever that day comes. And the succession chose whose desk it would be on the 21st of June, 1982. Diana's firstborn, arriving into a marriage Camilla's shadow already hung over. Charles can crown her, fund her, house her, and defend her. While he lives, the one thing no king can do by any instrument ever written is change who inherits the machine. The reckoning was never a plan. It's the heir. She can fight a rumor, a biographer, a headline. She cannot fight a birth certificate. The ledger is full, 20 signs, all stamped. Charles knew. Charles signed nothing. Charles didn't have to. 20 signs, one ledger. A tax rule that routes everything to the next sovereign. Estates already deeded to her stepson, titles that lapse on their own, and a will the world is never allowed to read. None of it requiring a single signature from Charles. The king spent 30 years building Camilla's crown, and not one day building her tomorrow, because the machine he serves was never going to allow it, and he has always known. And the man at the desk where all 20 signs land isn't starting from a blank page. His mother left him instructions. Diana left William 20 warnings about the very woman Charles crowned, and he's acting on everyone. If you want to see the list she left her son, that video is right here.